So hello everybody, my name is Lisa Mathews, and and hopefully we're going to have some fun today. So I head up Jack, which is the packaging team at Frost Collective. You may or may not have heard of Vince Frost and his Frost Collective, but we're a collection of little agencies that work across branding, environments, digital, and of course packaging. So Jack Frost. Welcome to the Mindful Packaging Pack Hack. As I said, let's have some fun today. I expect that you guys will be teaching me some things. So it's about conversation, it's about listening to other people's points of view, but of course, I've got a microphone here, and I need you guys to chip in from time to time. So what we'll cover is why packaging is crap. In the main, there's a lot of good packaging, but there's also a lot of bad packaging. I would assume that some of you are in the packaging game already, or maybe planning your way into packaging. Good for you. I love packaging. Why is it important? Of course it's important. It's the most important thing. And I'll let you know why. What makes great packaging design? I think that's going to be the crux of the session today, is having a look at some packs, dissecting them, thinking about what makes them good or how we can make them better. And then that question, what if you could redesign everything? Well, you can redesign everything. So we'll have a go at that. My background is, I call myself 55% clients because I started life as a copywriter and then moved into marketing. I only meant to be in marketing for a couple of years, and 12 years later I left. And hopefully I learned a few things along the way about branding and products. But I just wasn't spending enough time on what I really love, which was packaging. So you find a lot of marketing people will stay in marketing forever, although nobody really knows what happens to old marketeers. Some will move into comms. I think your brain's got to be that specific genre. But my big passion was always around packaging. But like you, I am 100% consumer. We're all consumers. We all consume packaging on a daily basis. And the world is evolving fast to a point where we may not even need packaging in the future because we're all starting to buy online. And if you're buying online, why would you need packaging? You're simply selecting a brand from a picture, it's delivered to your door. It could already be delivered into the containers. You know, a bulk truck comes and delivers straight into your containers. No more packaging. But packaging is more than that. Packaging is branding. It is the brand. It's storytelling. And for the foreseeable future, at least in our lifetimes, I think there'll be packaging that we can make our mark on. But we're all consumers, and we all buy things. Like you, I buy things, I try things. And like you, I probably throw away around 2.5 bags of rubbish every week. This is a series of photos taken by an American photographer, just people in their normal sort of environment with a week's worth of rubbish. There's a lot of stuff there. And most of us really are not sure where it comes from and not sure where it goes. So when we think about mindful packaging, particularly mindful, I think we're in this state as human beings in this world that we need to be much more mindful about the things we consume, what they look like, how they behave, and how we use them, thinking more in a closed economy. We don't just throw things away. We keep them, we reuse them, we recycle them, we refill them. But I'm not just going to talk about sustainability because that would be dull. We're all aware of it. We've all got a responsibility to design more sustainably. Even a 2D designer, someone who is working particularly on graphics rather than the structure of a bottle or a pack, can influence the kinds of inks, the substrates, can challenge. So it's all of our responsibility. Don't think it's out of your control. It's someone else's problem. We've all got to do it. So there's a lot of packaging around, but there's also a lot of bad packaging around. So forgetting the sustainability angle for a minute, why is it always so complicated? These are shot on my kitchen table, and these are real-life examples. I went down to Coles and picked up some packs. Ferrero Rocher, that little golden ball of chocolatey goodness, 37 pieces of packaging. Horrendous. Disappointing. This is a this is a delivery from David Jones. I mean, David Jones is a class act. Why wasn't this just better? Dishonest is a big one. So we all know about ullage. You have to allow for space in manufacturing, but this is just poor. Dangerous, the scissors pack that requires scissors to get into. You know, is this mindful? Well, this is not mindful. Confusing. 2 packs of Nurofen. If you look at them closely, you'll spot one subtle difference, and that is that one pack is 24 tablets and one is 12. Man, I can see a lot of people there wearing glasses like me, and also we're all getting older. Our sight is failing. We've got an older age group emerging. It's the biggest source of growth in Australia. Can they see the difference? Probably not. Generic, 5 different types of tomato sauce, and what have they all got on the front? Tomatoes. Why would I want to buy any one of them? Dole, greens, cake, yummy, delicious. I'm not getting much yummy, delicious out of this. Stereotypes, it's Greek. Let's put some Greek script on it. Functional, oh my goodness. I'm actually a bit embarrassed to buy this. Luckily, you don't have to because we just redesigned this range. And it's looking a lot better and selling a lot more. Cluttered. Yeah. I called these guys a few months ago and said, guys, I love your products. We've got vegetarians in our agency, and they all say Cindian's amazing. Sorry if anybody works on this packaging. And they went, sorry, can't help you. We've just redesigned our packaging. So I waited with bated breath to see the packaging, and here it is. Okay. Well done, guys. Nature's Own. Doesn't look very natural, does it? And I've chosen this one because this was, although it's an American brand, it's an Australian founder. It's an Australian girl, met an American boy, and they've made lots of ice cream in Brooklyn. And this is called the most Instagrammable packaging. And I've purposely chosen this shot because it's not a very good shot of the Van Leeuwen range. Normally you see the lovely pastels. But what's the story here? It's pretty type on nice colors. Is that good packaging? I'm not sure. So, guys, we're all responsible, and that's really cool because it means we can make a difference, both to the sustainability angle, but also around just great packaging that is a pleasure, I suppose, to pick up and buy. And of course, an economic necessity. We're in this world, it's a rat race, we're all competing. Every manufacturer, no matter how they started their brand, whether they started because they were passionate about a particular type of food or their kid couldn't eat a particular type of food, you know, there was always a story there, there's a passion, and they want to sell that passion. So we've got to give the passion back. So let's design better. Why is design important, and in particular packaging design, and obviously I'm biased around packaging design. I'm going to move this so that I'm not hiding behind it. Why is packaging design important? Because really design is a cornerstone of business. And when we think about that from a graphic point of view, everything starts with design. If we think one level deeper, we can think about service design, we can think about consumer experience, CX and UX, and all of those good things. And it becomes even more than this. But design is integral to business. Yep. So we better design right. But everything starts with design. From the brand DNA through to the identity, what the identity looks like is because of the brand DNA. The identity then flows through to the packaging. The packaging flows through to the point of sale, to the comms, and so on and so forth. And here's a great example of that. So this is a brand I worked on. Lipton's all about tea, yeah? And tea makes you feel good. So Lipton's story is about illumination. It's about that glow and that positivity and that boost that you get from tea. So that's the DNA of the brand. It's all about tea. And that comes through a really simple but positive logo that then flows through to the pack. It flows through to the 3D structure and all the other structures. It flows through to the point of sale, through into the comms. And you can see a thread there. Without design, none of that would be possible. And the last thing we want to do is logo slap. We want to think about how design flexes across the user experience. So what makes great design? I'm not expecting you to answer that straight away, but hopefully we'll get close on that. I think depth of story is important. So having a great story to tell, connecting emotionally. Johnny Walker, the man that walked the world. Who was he? He was a Scottish grocer. He walked the world because he was looking for ingredients and provender for his Scottish grocer. And of course, he was the father of Johnny Walker whiskey. And he symbolizes progress. And of course, drinkers of Johnny Walker are guys, generally, more and more women nowadays. But it used to be around status, drinking whiskey, but it's not now. It's about, I've arrived, I'm me, I'm comfortable in what I choose. So it's about my progress through life. That is a great brand story, and you can do so much with it. Great design is about power, right? And I've purposely chosen this example because it's not packaging, but it is a kind of packaging in a way because it's packaging of a brand. So Virgin Airlines, the glamour of flights. Now we all know that's a story too, because how glamorous is it when you're stuck in cattle class? It's not glamorous at all. But these guys are so true to their vision to disrupt. They look amazing. Their communication is amazing. It's very, very focused. You can tell it from a mile away. So that's what I mean by being single-minded and standing out. And then foresight. And this is quite an interesting one because this is Coke. And as we know, Coke in the last couple of months has actually changed. They're moving away from the swoosh. So over years and years and years of time, they put so much into red and white. We all know Coke, red and white. Into the swoosh, it symbolizes refreshment. If you look at it from a deeper semiotics level, it's about connection and all sorts of things. And now they're going after the circle, which is quite interesting. The circle dates back to the sort of 50s when they did their posters outside of stores or their metal signs. And it's quite interesting then to see what happens to this equity. Does it get lost? Will it come back? Will the circle have as much flexibility to be enriched and to be creative yet consistent over time? So what I'm going to do now, we said this is a workshop, so we better give you some work to do, is I'm going to hand out to sort of subdivide the tables, I think. It'd be great. So some of you will be in 2s, some in 3s, whatever, it's fine. I'm going to hand out some packs, and these are packs that some would consider great design. They're certainly iconic in a way. And what I'd like you guys to do is have a look at those packs and think about how do they make you feel? What do they make you think? And what is it that makes you feel that way? And then just record that down, and after 10 minutes or so, we'll just stand up and obviously share that with the group. And what we'll try and do is connect what makes great design great. So my bag of goodies, in my purple Aldi bag. Now, Aldi, there's a brand that, by the way, this is someone else's bag. Aldi, sorry if there's any Aldi people in the room. There you go. That's for you guys. Aldi, unfortunately, likes to reinvent other people's brands. So what they'll do is they'll take a brand, and then they'll chip away, and they'll change 5 things on the pack. So you've seen the Head and Shoulders and their version. I can't remember the name of it. It's probably hair and, I don't know, hair and face or something. You know, is it a good thing? Probably not. There you go. All right, interesting goodies here. All right, good to go. Good to go. All right, I'm going to hand the mic out because we kind of have to. So, girls, please let us know what. Show everyone your pack. What is it?
It's a underwear brand packaging.
So one pair of men's underwear. It's Acne Studio, so it's a pretty cool fashion brand. Arrived in this pack. Right. So tell us about the pack. What does it make you think? What does it make you feel? Why?
Firstly, it makes us feel very feminine, very luxury, very simplicity, and very bulky and heavy. But also they make us think it's reusable for future.
Okay.
something else.
Is this pack iconic? Is it good packaging?
Yes.
Why?
Why?
What makes it iconic?
I have no idea.
Okay. I just
That's
say
why you're
also.
here, right?
Apparently, this Pantone color was one of the most popular color of the year, and that's what they use for this color.
Wow, did you just Google that?
No, she's a fashion. Yeah.
All right. So I think there's a simplicity about it.
Yep.
That simplicity lends itself to the premium feel.
Yep.
Yeah. It's pretty intriguing. It's layered. It's kind of, you know, it's not a Bonds plastic pack, is it? You see it and what you see is what you get. It's very much a gift to self.
Yeah.
It's a discovery. So I think that's what makes it an iconic pack. You can talk about waste of material and, you know, is it really mindful? But I think it's a pretty good version of underwear packaging. If you're so inclined at spending $100 for a pair, yep, of Acne Studios. Right, what was your pack and tell us about it?
Okay, we have redhead matches. How do they make me feel? I could go a cigarette about now. I feel social. I feel friendly and warm.
What's making you feel
I
that?
think that the logo on there of the girl, she looks quite sexual. She's very confident looking, and also because the logo's been around for so long, you get a comfort in the fact that it's iconic, and you feel, you know, very content to purchase the product.
So there's a reassurance. It hasn't changed much over time.
No, and I think that's what good branding's all about.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've done that very well with the hair being the fire, and the red, you know, evoking flames around her face and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So this is a pretty old brand, and if you go in over time and have a look, over the last 40 years or so, it hasn't really changed. It's been the girl's head, and her hair is the fire, as you say.
Yeah.
So there's a simplicity to that, and there's a consistency to that,
Very
which I think
consistent,
is something that marketeers, and I know because I used to be one, you know, there seems to be an urge to make your mark on a brand and then leave. And often brand managers, they're hungry beasts. They're after new and exciting experiences. They love the idea of working on fresh things. Hey, I'm going to make my mark and go. So they play a little bit with the brand, and then off they go.
I'm not sure if the font has always been the same, but that's also very flame-like as well.
Exactly. So there's little bits there that are telling you the story of what this product is. But it's interesting. You say things like comfort and consistency for me is quite a big one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's pretty interesting when you go back into an archive and you look at where the brand started, and you see every 5 years or so someone's changed something. And every time, almost without doubt, something is lost. So consistency is pretty important. Aesop girls. Tell us about the Aesop. So everyone knows Aesop, right?
So we went through a few different stages. This lovely lady here actually isn't aware of Aesop, so it was a good starting point there. Her initial thoughts was that it's a luxury brand, and it's very clean and sleek. The colour palette's very, gives off a sense of very simple and elegant and just a luxury feeling about it. And then we started looking into it, and we realised we didn't actually know what this product was, and we actually had to read the label to understand. And I am aware of this brand, and I know that all of their packaging is exactly the same. So I know if you want a body cleanser or a shampoo, you actually have to go in, get up close and read the label. So yeah, we came to the conclusion that it wasn't great packaging, but again, it's consistent across the whole brand. So I immediately recognised what it was before seeing the logo. Sorry.
Yeah. So I agree with you there. I mean, Aesop is pretty well known. You can sort of point it out in a wall. I think the Thank You brand has borrowed many cues from Aesop, and of course it's $8 versus what is this? It's nearly 60, I think. It's incredible. It's a great product. It's very simple. It's very refined. It's pretty minimalist, considering there's a lot of ingredients they have to by law state. I agree with you. It's quite tricky, especially if you've got a couple of products, and when you're standing in the store going like this, and you know, it can be difficult. But it is pretty simple, and we know it's Aesop. If I scratched out that name, you'd still know it was Aesop. So there's something there around distinctive memory structures, those colors, those lines. That text is telling you it's Aesop. The brown bottles, which of course symbolize the medicinal nature of the products. Right, Bundaberg girls. Bundaberg, I'll go.
We had quite an interesting group because we had one kind of international person who didn't have the memories of this brand that the other two of us had.
Yeah.
So we had kind of conflicting interpretations of the packaging. We had sort of warmth and trustworthiness, and the fact that it was, you know, quite traditional, and it's got the barrels and the shape of the bottle, and the pull tabs really kind of old, and it just felt quite nostalgic to us, classic. And it seems, I don't know the history of it, but it seems quite kind of unchanged in that same kind of iconic bottle shape that we know runs throughout the rest of their not ginger beer, the other drinks. But then we also kind of had that it was a bit boring or dull. The packaging was a bit awkward to hold and a bit generic, and the fact that it's Australian but it doesn't actually look Australian at all to us was kind of, I guess, the negatives that we found on the packaging.
That's quite interesting when someone says, please make my brand look Australian, and they expect you to use green and gold.
Yeah.
But of course there are other ways to make things feel Australian.
Yeah.
So it could be tones and textures, it could be things from nature or things that from Australian art, or, you know, there's a million different ways. So, yeah, interesting one. Okay, so again, I mean, look, we can go on for as long as we wish on this, and I can talk about packaging till the cows come home, so I won't. But, you know, there are a few things that stand out, and we'll spend a bit more time on those principles. So things around friendly and warm. You know, almost everyone said there's a warmth, which is interesting, and even on the color. Things around luxury and layering and discovery. Clean and simple stood out for me. Things around consistency and unchanged. These packs are not perfect, they never are. But if we go into a store and all of those brand names are blurred out, we can almost, without a doubt, pick out those brands because we know them, they're embedded into our brains. And I spoke about distinctive memory structures, the colors, the shapes, the combination of those things. Byron Sharp, read Byron Sharp, Australian professor down in Melbourne, wrote the great book around how brands grow. And things stick in your brain. The first thing is about mental availability. Shelf availability, of course, if it's not there, you can't purchase it. But mental availability, do I know this brand? Do I know what it stands for? What is the packaging saying to me? Do I recognize the brand? And there are things we can do that help drive those things. So simple. Simple is important. Simple, I just get it. It's intuitive. I understand what this product is. I understand what it's saying to me. This is simple, no nonsense. I understand it's for the bath, it's for the window, it's for my glassware. It looks more basic because it is. It's a basics range designed for Woolworths, South Africa. But it's simple, it's intuitive. It feels pretty good, actually. A range of noodles, so cup noodles. This entrepreneur from, I think he's from Korea, settled in Finland. And his noodles look exactly the same as every other instant noodle until we got our hands on it. There he is. You know, simple, incredible. You cannot forget this pack. It's got a story to it. You want to know more, but it's simple. It's going to stand out amongst all that clutter. Mr. Lee is his name. Authentic, telling a real story, and I hinted at this earlier. It's about the passion of the original story. Dig deeper, find out what it is. There's a passion behind everything. If Acne Studios is about simplicity and premium and design and consideration, well, they've said that in their pack. You can argue that it's not very friendly to the environment, but man, it's a great experience if you're into that brand. Hellmanns, iconic mayonnaise, the world's biggest mayonnaise brand. It's worth more than $1 billion to Unilever, and it's more than 100 years old. But it was looking pretty shit. Very bright, very artificial, trying to put eggs on the front because everybody else shows eggs on their mayonnaise. Funny ribbons and things all over it. And in fact, they were going to get rid of the ribbons until we dug a bit deeper. Why does Hellman have ribbons on it? Because when Richard Hellman started up a deli at 490 Columbus Street in New York in 1913, he and his wife owned a deli, and they made deli products. And the best products, he would tie a big blue ribbon around. And that's the story of the ribbon. Don't get rid of it. This product is born in a deli. Make it look like it's born in a deli. There are a ton of other mayonnaises out there in blue and yellow trying to copy Hellmann's, but only Hellman can tell the story of born in a deli. And so therefore, the new pack on front is more pared back, more simple, more retro. It looks like it's born in a deli because it is. It's the truth. So dig deeper for those brand truths. Plymouth Gin. There's an authentic story. So the first bottle on the left, the original bottle, distillery down in Plymouth in the UK. And in fact, the founding fathers of America spent the night in the distillery before they sailed across. And when they landed in America, they called it Plymouth Rock. Yeah? Amazing story. 1793 established. It used to be the gin ration of the English Navy. Every sailor used to have a bottle of Plymouth Gin. And then suddenly, some brand manager said, no, all other gins are Art Deco. Bombay Sapphire, and Hendrix wasn't around at the time, but it was just about to be launched. Tanqueray, let's go Art Deco. Why? You've got an amazing story there, tell it. And so the brief came down to, let's dig deeper, let's go back in time, let's understand. And now it looks like a bottle of gin that fell out of the back of a sailor's pocket. It's telling the stories, and if you look really closely, you can see all of the little details and craft. And craft is something really important. It's understanding the layers of time and the passion and what went into it. Distinctive. Distinctive is about standing out while fitting in, which sounds like a bit of a misnomer. Yeah? All of these brands are distinctive in their own way. There are many copiers, so Aldi was the reference I gave there. But if you've got a strong enough story and you tell it well, you can protect it. This is a range of products for PepsiCo. Tiger nuts, they've got a shell with a pattern on it. And we could have just said nuts and put some nuts in the corner. But actually, we told the story of the tiger. And once you see tiger nuts written in the face of the tiger, you never unsee it. So it stands out because it's so different to what's on the shelf, but it's also got the color, the sociability, the warmth that snack brands should have. Guinness, completely distinctive. Yeah. The golden heart, which is actually the symbol of Ireland, but the symbol of Ireland faces the other way around. But Guinness, with its heart, so distinctive that when you take that brand, and its biggest market is Nigeria, and growing fast in Asia Pacific, when you take that brand and you localize it and you add African art and you make it for the people, the young sort of upcoming people of Africa, you make it for them, it's still Guinness. It's still the DNA of Guinness. It's still the black color, still the heart, but you can play with it. And that's what's so cool about design. If you've got a strong equity, you can flex it. Engaging. There's 5 principles here. Engaging is one of my principles. It's about having a conversation. You're there to help. And this is a perfect example of that. The Nurofen headache pill, which one would you rather reach for? I'd rather reach for this one. Help, I've got a headache. Oh, okay, cool, here you go. It's simple, it's sweet, you can put it in your bag. It's there for you when you need it. It's having a conversation. Engaging, flexibility. Being able to tell the story of the brand in a million different ways, but still unmistakably that brand, coming to life across touch points. We spoke about the DNA being reflected. Tanqueray number 10 is the younger brother of Tanqueray, so another gin from our friends at Diageo. And this particular product has a citrusy flavor, so there's sort of fresh citrus peel is added. So it's got a very light citrusy feel, and hence make it look like the language of orange zesters and orange juices, but then extend the experience. When the mixologist or barman is preparing your cocktail with Tanqueray number 10, he can use this incredible range of collateral, the atomizer, to spritz the final little dose of whatever it is across the cocktail that just completes that amazing experience. That's brand engagement. And then better for people and planet. So the 5th principle, but probably the first one really, and this is where I started my discussion, we've got to think about when someone briefs you on a box, don't go back with the box. Ultimately, you probably have to go back with the box, but we all know. But if you're not going to try and challenge the thinking, the existing thinking, we'll never move forward. So Puma clever little bag. Graham and our team worked on this for Fuse projects in San Francisco. The brief was, we have all these boxes. They're expensive. There's tissue paper, there's lids, and there's bases. Make us a better box. And they went back with a bag. They sketched out 2,000 ideas. And this is the one that won. And there's 60% saving in materials here, but also it's got a reusability factor to it. So if you Google this, you'll see pictures of people using it for their loo rolls or their socks, whatever. It's a bag with life. It says something fantastic about the brand. So think about every touch point. Better for people, Lipton again. So Lipton iced tea, marginally better for you than a Coke. But let's get people drinking. Tea's pretty good for you, actually. There are other benefits, the antioxidants and so on. Let's get people drinking tea. Let's make it as fun and as sociable as other soft drinks. But let's think about the whole branded experience there. So making sure that the bottle looks unmistakably Lipton. If I covered up the word Lipton, you'd still know it was Lipton. The waves of refreshment are actually the logo integrated into the panels of the bottle, making it stronger. Hey, we can save 20% material. So there are little things that you can do, whether it's a little thing or a big thing. We have to go for it. If I distill all of that, it's about having a purpose. Brands with purpose, selling 30% more than brands without a purpose. So of course everybody's going to move that way. And so it should be. So it should be. Everything we buy should have a conscience and a reason and a purpose and do good in the world. We've reached that point. A big idea, everything built with a big idea, a story to tell, a story based on brand truth. Personality. In a commodity market like bread or toilet paper or anything else, those 5 tomato sauces I showed you, personality will cut through. Make it engaging, make it a brand you want to be with. Craft, the detail, the little things that make it hang together, the layering, the discovery. All of that results in storytelling, results in a more memorable brand. 2 approaches. I would suggest you do both. It's an iterative process as you work through your briefs. And again, this applies to anything, whether it's packaging design or not. Start with the brand story and work forwards. There is a brand story. There's always a brand story. Even if it's a brand new brand invented yesterday, there will be a story. Find it, use it as a hook, and work it through everything you do. Or conversely, and you can do both of these. Start with the customer or consumer experience and work backwards. What is the experience we want people to have? I'm sure Acne Studios doesn't want people to go, oh my God, these people are wasteful. So they want people to think it's premium and it's great, and I've invested my money in a brand that says so much about me, but I'm pretty sure they don't want that. So think about those two things and work backwards and work forwards. So what if you could redesign everything? Just thinking about those principles. So those principles were simple, authentic, distinctive, engaging, better for people and planet. What if you could redesign everything? Now's your chance. So using those principles, I'm going to hand out some packs that I think seriously need a bit of help. All right? Dick Smith's. I'm not going to give it to you guys. I'm going to give you Quilton. All right, I'm going to give you guys Dick Smith's. Dick Smith's, legend, right? Okay. So he's all about Aussie. Aussie born and bred and grown and supporting Aussie business. Does he bring that to life on his pack? Have a think about that. Bread. Medium grain, I'm afraid. You prefer long grain? Right. Oh, you guys had... have a little think about that. So Tresemme. Tresemme started as a hairdresser brand and then was bought by Unilever along with many other brands. What would you do differently? I'll give you baby food. There you go. A different kind of Coles again. Right. So thinking about some of those principles, starting with a brand story, starting with the customer experience, being more simple, being authentic, engaging, distinctive, better for people, better for planet. What would you do? Have a little discussion. You've got about 15 minutes. Up to you guys. If you want to do it in your little teams as a whole table, that's fine. Then you get to cover 2 brands. But what would be great is in 15 minutes' time, you would present back a couple of things that you would do to those packs. Yeah? So if you want to write it down, I mean, you guys are good and write it down. But okay, get ready to share your top 2 changes. So, your top 2 changes, thinking about making things more simple, making things more authentic, more distinctive, more engaging, better for people and planet. Choose wisely. You have only 2 points to make, and you will stand up and let us know. Right? All of these packs could do with a bit of help in some way or another. Get ready to share. And we will randomly start with the Quiltons. The Quiltons. Show everyone your lovely products and tell us what you would change and why. 2 things. Go for it.
Okay, so the 2 things are, the first thing is we probably get rid of the busyness, make it more simple. We just love the logo on the back. It says Quilton loves your bum, so we want to put that at the front.
You want to put a bum on the front?
Well, we want to make it a peachy bum, pastel-y bum colour, the whole packaging.
Oh, okay.
And make the luxury from the typographic treatment and layout, not from the angels and the gold.
Yeah.
Just a simple, luxurious.
You want to say luxury through and through. Okay, so Quilton, thank you. Toilet paper category is a commodity. People are shopping on price only, promotion, and everything looks the same. In a category that looks the same, the thing that will make you stand out is personality. All right? If you're about luxury, look luxurious. Making something gold isn't always the way. There are other ways to do luxury. So that goes back to detailing and craft and so on. Why are there so many feathers and babies and, swirly bits and pieces? There are other ways to say soft. And actually, the brand question is, everyone says soft, so what are you going to do different? Are you about healthy bums, as you say? Is it about wellness? Is it about something bigger? What's your purpose? And bring that to life. Thank you, Quiltons. Coles, white sliced bread. Show us your wares. All right, girls, what would you change and why?
I think the environment slash better for people in environment, because this is plastic, but when we're kind of like reading through it, it's really difficult to recycle this because you can't just recycle it in your normal bins. You actually have to go to Coles just to recycle it again. And buying this bread, it's kind of like, it's easier to just chuck it out and put it in landfill kind of thing. So we think repackaging this into maybe more
Paper.
Yep. Paper form might be better. And then my other one would be probably Simplicity. It's a Coles brand. I don't know if it has to stand out completely because I think maybe more specific people will buy Coles brands, whereas, what's the other one? Bundaberg.
Many others.
Yeah, many others. Like, people have been eating that for like many years. So simplifying this and putting all the information kind of like in the same, not same place, but like just organizing it a lot better. Like we've got the weight of it on the top, no one reads that kind of thing.
Okay, so you would generally tidy up the pack and perhaps put it into paper. So I would build on that and I would say that there's very little personality. Yeah. So if you have a look at what Woolworths has done to their home brand in the last 6 months, and I know because I worked on it, it was about adding personality back, making people proud to put an economy product in your trolley, making it feel good. There's something really smiley about this pack. You know, there's interesting stories you could tell. So one of the stories could be mums thanklessly making sandwiches every day for their kids and hubby. Give them some inspiration. You know, you could do loads around flavour and excitement, inspire the mums. Or, white sandwich. It doesn't tell me much about the product or the quality. So, could do better. All right, next, this power cleaner stuff.
Yeah, so
All right, show us your wares.
when we first looked at this, we both thought it was either an oven cleaner or a pesticide spray, and I get that they were trying to look aggressive, like we will kill everything in your shower. But I
That's
tend
scary.
to think they've overdone it, and they have to keep with the purple because that's their branding colour. But I would kind of ease off on the orange, maybe go with the lemon scent, which is tiny down the bottom down there, or maybe a pale blue, so it's not so we will kill the whole world with this can. And maybe get away from that type of can, like pesticide look. Maybe if they are able to put it in some sort of a spray of some kind. And then we noticed on the back that, you know, I can't even read all that. They've got this illustration up there of cleaning a bathroom, but it doesn't need to be there. The instructions are so tiny. They should be up bigger, like 4 easy blocks going down the side. The instructions could easily be cleaned up with, you know, a body of text going on down that side. Oh, where do you start? There's
So more
much you
yeah,
could do with this. to
exactly.
make
So
it-
more is more
you
in this
can't
world.
cover up that it's
Yeah.
it's not good for the environment, but you can make it look less aggressive.
Exactly. So more is more in this world, and that's you know, it's all about power and muscle and bang and bam and aggressive, as you said. And do I really want to use that product? Well, I know it's going to do the job. It's saying efficacy, but is it saying?
They need something that represents bathroom on the front, like a really easy icon of maybe.
Because when you've got a shelf of
shower
products,
tap
you
or
can't even tell what this is for. Is
a
this the
straight
oven
go-to,
cleaner?
yeah.
I've kind of done
Yeah.
that. So, I think this is where Mathews, so you guys had the Method products, and Mathews was really fantastic when they launched into the category. It's a great brand in the States. You can buy it here online in a couple of stores. This is a glass and surface cleaner, and of course it looks like glass and surface cleaner, but they have products that clean showers and loos and all the rest of it. And the one thing these guys decided when they launched Method was we're going to do things differently because everything is so aggressive in this category. We actually want stuff that you don't have to hide away in your cupboard because it's so damn ugly, but actually you're proud to leave it out. And so everything for them was about simplicity. Less is more rather than more is more. And that's one of my favorite sayings in design, less is more. Yeah? The Bellamy's boys. Show us your wares.
With this one here, I guess the two things that we would probably change on it.
So this is Bellamy's organic, right? Baby products.
Baby products.
Baby food.
Baby pinkies. As an aside, we'd probably get rid of the pinkies because who wants to feed their kid fingers? Kind of that vague cannibalism reference didn't really go over too well. We would, however, probably change the photography, the image of the child, and the child is not enjoying that thing. It really isn't. And the pictures of the fruit. This is supposed to be a lovely organic product, and the fruit photography looks awful. It's really shiny and horrible. It looks like it's been sitting underneath some bright studio lights for probably far too long. And the product itself looks like it's come out the other end of the child. So
brilliant. Can anyone there see the brand? No. So that's a big thing for me. Is where is Bellamy's?
Yeah,
there it is.
Buried quite up the top.
It's very recessive. It's a type treatment. Yeah.
And
there's no meaning to it, and meaning is everything. These guys are about organic. Everything they do should say organic, good for you, better for you, etc., etc. Their story. Instead, it's a pretty ordinary identity. Could work so much harder. All right, last thing? No? You're done.
Oh, yeah, just simplify it. There's far too much on the front of the pack, and they haven't even said how many fingers are in it. You've got to go over the back and look in the nutrition panel to find out how many are in the pack. So we think simplifying the front and, getting rid of that photography.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I've learned from working in the baby category is that mums are sleep-starved. So make it easy, make it simple. Right, the Earth girls. Show us your wares. What have you got?
All right, we've got this one. And what we were thinking would be best for this was there's too many elements going on in it. So we've got like the logo up the top. We've got random lemon wedges down here. We've got a pattern coming through the actual bottle that I couldn't see to begin with, but there are leaves there. What we thought would work really well for this one is even just removing the earth from the top, because that already gets rid of some of the colours, and you've then followed through with like all of the greens in the back and all the natural sort of environment sort of stuff with that. We know that means it's getting rid of the earth concept, but I think everything else that's involved in the logos and like the branding and the labels sort of speak that enough. That's one.
Okay, so simplicity. Declutter.
Yeah. And then the other thing we thought we could do is they've got key selling points such as, the Australian concept, but plant-based formula and cruelty-free and all that sort of stuff. And we thought instead of dot points on the front, and there's even some more on the back, turning them into icons so it's easier to, you don't want to read through a dot point list when it's the first point of information on the front of your packaging. So if they're icons instead, it might be easier to...
Yeah, I mean, that's a tricky one because often what clients say is put claims on, put iconography on, put more on. So in one way you said, right, let's declutter, and then you said, let's bring stuff to the front. But if they're about simplicity and better for the planet, there are ways to do that are semiotic, that are hinted at, the touch and feel of it. It could be matte, it could be round, it could be more organic. It could be earth-shaped, who knows? That's a bit cheesy, but the point is we don't have to say all of these things. We can show these things. Chicken noodle soup. Show us your soup.
Oh, we have a very
What
exciting
two things?
Coles chicken soup here.
Coles chicken noodle soup. What two things would you change and why?
Well, Coles a brand because they go to the manufacturers and get the manufacturers to pretty much pack the exact same product which they are packing in as their own brand. We can't really change much of the packaging, but whether we can make it like less glossy even, So just mostly focusing on the packaging branding-wise. We kind of make it more personality because currently it does look generic and it's kind of Woolworths looking.
The greens, right?
Yes, the green.
Looks
yeah.
more Woolworths than Coles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so bring more red in. Even you can even look at Coles TV branding with the big red hand. It's very annoying, but it worked. So whether you can draw in that playfulness, so probably we're looking at personality and engagement with the brand.
Mm-hmm.
Was kind of like a lack of taste. So as you can see, it's not very
It's
tasteful.
food.
So
Yeah, it looks
one
like
of
astronaut
the idea
food.
like super draft, we trying to devise with different flavors. So make focus on that. At least if you're going to get a chicken noodle, it should be tasteful and not taste like chicken, taste like tomato. So trying to focus on the design, trying to divide by taste instead of like just like a generic chicken noodle. So that's kind of like, I don't know, redesign everything and trying to make more tasteful and something that you want to eat.
Yeah, exactly. So what I hear mostly is personality. It's a value brand, but what are Coles' values? Coles' values are about bringing you the best deal. And we've gone far and wide to find the best chicken noodle soup for you, and it's really fantastic for your family. It's a good cost, and it's full of goodies, and chicken soup is pretty healthy. I don't get any of that. Yeah. And then what you're saying is taste. Of course, we're selling flavor here, and there are other brands that do it much better. So think about how you portray food. And sometimes you don't even have to show food to be tasty. Yeah? Cool. Thank you. Right, the rice, guys. Rice, baby. So, show us your wares.
So here we've got a bag of sunrise. To be honest, there's a lot of things I would change on this, but the two top things would be the packaging itself. As you can see, it's packaged in soft plastic, and soft plastic itself, it's really hard to recycle, as in, plastic bags and all.
It's also incredibly difficult to open, and your rice sprays everywhere.
That's right. So with this soft plastic, it doesn't really give the actual product personality as well, and it makes it really hard to read the actual packaging itself. One of the things we suggest is to put it in a hard plastic dispenser with the lid, so that you can dispense as well. And also, once you've used the packaging, you can actually reuse the actual packaging for other things as well. So, or if you want, you can just recycle.
Well, wouldn't it be great if Sunrise had some rice stations in the store, and you can take your packaging and then weigh it as you do your fruits and vegetables? It says so much about a brand that cares about the environment.
That's correct, yeah. I mean, it is plain by itself already. Rice is rice, you know what I mean? So another thing would be the actual logo itself. There's not much of a contrast with the actual logo, if you can see. It's just a yellow sun and the word rice. So, and there's too much red going on, so there needs to be some sort of contrast with the actual logo, and it needs to be bigger as well.
Yeah. Meaning, I think. So if I cover that up, it's gone very Coles.
Yeah, it's too small.
Yeah. So the identity of a brand is not just locked up in the logo. It's how everything comes to life. The choice of typeface, the other colours, the other shapes, how it presents food. Think about every little detail that says this is my brand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And there's no depth to it as well, like there's no story, so.
No depth, no taste, no naturalness. And it's a tasty, yummy, natural product.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Right, last few minutes, Dick Smith. So tell us about Dick Smith. Who is he for all the people who don't know Dick Smith?
So we had the Australians, the source. Dick Smith has quite strong Australian-made and supporting Australian farmer values. So we thought...
that doesn't look like it came from an Australian farm.
No. So we thought we could focus more on the values of the brand.
Brilliant, yeah.
So maybe, what did we say? The Australians... The source of Australia, or the Australian source. So making it more about his support. And also the other thing we thought about is there's no preservatives in this sauce, so and quality is important. So maybe putting it in a glass bottle just to give it a bit more quality. because I think this cheapens it, this
Sure.
packaging.
And glass is easier to recycle.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. So I like what you said about values and personality. I mean, Dick Smith, I don't know a lot about him because I'm not Australian, but Dick Smith certainly is pretty famous, mostly for a failed venture, but also because he believes in Australianness. Yeah. So proudly Australian, challenging, he's a bit like Richard Branson with Virgin, challenging the status quo and supporting Australian farmers. So you could say he could go Australian farm on you. It should look like a bottle that comes from the farm in the same way that the Hellmanns bottle looks like it comes from a deli in New York. Or you could say it's about Dick Smith and what he believes. So let's not even have tomatoes, let's have Dick Smith. Yeah. He can make it fun, he can make it serious. There's so many different ways to go. And the only way you really know is to sit down and understand why he does what he does and work out what he needs to say and how he needs to say it. I agree. I think, just seeing the source would potentially make me pick it. But when I scan the shelf, there are red and yellow squeezy bottles and tomatoes, and that's all I see, because you literally spend just a few seconds scanning. So what is going to make you pop? And with a big story like that, it feels like he could do something really wacky and really different. Right, camper guys, you had quite a tough one, actually.
Yep, so we've got the camper shoebox and bag. So to sort of change the experience, I guess, the main two things would be that we look to put a window, like a see-through window on the box, because camper actually have some pretty amazing coloured shoes and amazing designs.
Sell the dream.
Exactly, they're a Spanish brand, so make the most of that. And then look at sort of doing away with this extra bag by putting the handles onto the box so that it's a multi-purpose thing that you can just walk out with the shop with. So
brilliant, love it. Love it. So you're right, camper is very, very quirky, very colourful. They do some amazing advertising, and I don't get a sense of that at all. Their shoes are not cheap, so you're spending $200 plus, and you're walking out, and for half an hour or longer, you're walking around the shops, Pitt Street Mall, whatever, onto the train, whatever. That is an advert for the brand, and I'm just not getting any of that quirkiness and colour. I think your idea is great about combining the handles. I must say, I didn't know whether to like this or not, because there's a tactility to it. So it reminds you of almost like a flip-flop or a thong, I think you call it here. It's different where I come from. There's something, it's like, oh, that's a little bit of extra value. I've just paid $200 for these shoes. But then I stopped to think about it, and I was like, oh man, how am I going to recycle this? Because you either have to pull it apart, which is a pain, or you just shove it in the recycling, and then it gets stuck in the system anyway because it's mixed materials. So I think that's a great idea. Thank you very much. And last but not least, the Tresemme girls. Oh, with your long flowing locks.
So yes, we had the Tresemme Expert Selection Youth Boost Conditioner. The main thing we thought we would change would be to make the actual bottle more distinctive. And when we were thinking about Tresemme, we remembered the big kind of rounded bottles, which
the
are
big
actually
black
quite
bottles?
Nice. Yeah,
they're famous for black, right?
Yeah,
so why is this white?
Completely doesn't relate to this at all. So bringing that shape back, still keeping it a conditioner bottle, but keeping that shape and making it more distinctive and that iconic kind of packaging. Also, it's supposed to be a salon quality item, but there's nothing luxurious about this. It almost looks quite cheap. So looking at the actual material of the bottle as well as the graphics and also the finishes of the bottle. So they would be the main two.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think you're right. So that goes back to distinctive memory structures again. Tresemme in our head is a black curved bottle, and it's famous for that. So why wouldn't you take those codes and cues into the squeezy tube? I think you girls are covering over the logo earlier and saying it could be any other brand, and I think you're right about that. Also promises youth boost and recharge. It's like, wow, I'm going to have an amazing head of hair, but I'm just not getting any of that sense of the promise of the brand.
Yeah, there's a lot of text. There's no icons or visuals or anything that gives that youth.
Not at all. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. All right. So there you go. Just a little exercise, and I hope you had fun with that. There were some Tim Tams passing themselves around. Right, we've got a few more minutes. So what I'll do is just recap. And I think if I can boil it down to these principles, these are the principles I abide by. So they become a creative catalyst and also judgment criteria. Simple. Do I just get it? Do I understand what the promise is? You know, it's on shelf, it's simple, it's uncluttered, all of those good things. Authentic. Is there a story being told? Preferably an ownable story. Yeah. If you can't own it, be distinctive. Because, you know, white bread is white bread is white bread, and everyone's trying to tell the whole grain story or the grain story or the then do it in a different way. Do it with personality. Be bold. Stand out. Being bold can sometimes mean putting nothing on the pack. So Acne Studio is a good example of that. It doesn't mean you have to dial up everything. Being bold, less is more, is a very good principle. So distinctive, that was about standing out while fitting in. So where do we have this one? The Mr. What is it? Bang, Bam, Sillet thing. They have to look like they're going to do the job, because otherwise why would you pick them? And that's often the problem with the eco brands. People don't feel they're going to be efficacious. So you still got to give the language of the category, but do it in your way. Do it in a distinctive and unique way. Engaging across everything, every touch point. The front of pack, the back of pack, the copy, the way you open the pack. The rice pack, you know, God, tearing it open, it falls all over the floor, and you curse. And then next time you buy it again, and then you curse again at your own stupidity. Dorset cereals, so I occasionally write articles on LinkedIn, but Dorset cereals I touched on recently. In one of their granola packs, it's a bag and a box. When you open the box, it tells you you're going to need scissors to open this pack. You know, open it, I can't remember what it says. It says something really nice about, you know, open the pack, enjoy the pack with scissors. And it was like, oh, thank God, I saw that. That's really nice, thank you. And I'll use the scissors to open the pack. Because if I hadn't seen that, I would have gone rip, and it would have gone everywhere again. So it's just about being engaging, having the conversation. That was about being consistent as a brand, but also being flexible. So be creative within the consistency. Do not be tempted to change everything. Marketeers are risk averse, but also consumers don't like change. So when you make changes, make little ones, make improvements, or make big, bold ones. There's no right answer to this. But make sure you're making things for a reason. And then lastly, better for people and planet. So again, it goes back to, can we do little things to improve life for people? Can we make it easier to read all of that stuff on the back of the pack? Can we make it easier for mums to choose how many are in there? Oh, is this good value for me? What age group is it for? Again, almost 6-month-old choke. For mums, making sandwiches every day, day in, day out, what an endless chore. How do we make it easier for them? How do we inspire them? Yeah. Yeah, that's it, really. That's it. So start with the brand story, dig deeper, find those levers, start with the brand experience, do both of those things, start with one, end with one. What is the experience you want people to have? We are all consumers, and we know. We know this because we experience it every day. Human-centered design. If you remember only one thing, bad packaging is a consequence, not a coincidence. So all of these packs you see had tons of people working on them. It was your table that pointed out, yeah, it was you, right? The conversation that went into the Tim Tams. It's chocolate, so it has to be brown. Yeah. It's smooth chocolate, so it's got to have ripples. This has got extra value, so we've got to have big extra value written on it in yellow. There's red in the brand mark, so we need to have red elements on the pack. Those conversations can get so convoluted and people don't see the big picture. So it's our job to say, no, less is more. Make it simple. Keep it simple. What is the story being told? Let's tell the story. It's like writing a book. There's no need for a 1,000-page novel if you can say what you need to say in 100 pages. So it's a consequence of the choices we make. Be bold, push back. I was a client, and man, it was really good when my agency pushed back on me. And now I'm in agency, and now I try push, and it's painful at times, but you've got to do what you believe in. So go ahead and be mindful and have fun. Thank you very much. I hope that helped.